Seattle Seahawks, we sure do appreciate you. Let's get it. Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. And in today's show, we will be previewing the San Francisco 49ers at the Indianapolis Colts. That's going to be a Monday night game, 8:15 Eastern start at Lucas Oil Stadium. And I definitely want to get into breaking things down, giving you my thoughts, my predictions, my matchups, my analysis. But before we jump into all that, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about first what happened last night on Thursday Night Football. Man, the Seattle Seahawks came through big in overtime, going for the 2-point conversion and defeating the Los Angeles Rams 38-37. And there's a lot to unpack in this because the 49ers now control their whole destiny. If the 49ers win out these next 3 games, if they can handle business against the Colts on the road, take care of the Bears at home, then setting up that huge matchup with the Seahawks for, you can might as well say, all the cards at home in that last game of the season, man, week 18, you could be looking at the San Francisco 49ers having an opportunity to have 2 home playoff games before hosting a Super Bowl also at home. If you think back and you look back at how this season has been, just with the sheer number of key players, future Hall of Fame guys getting hurt, Brock Purdy being hurt, the fact that we're even having this conversation is absolutely incredible. And with what's transpired over these last several weeks, we actually have an opportunity to have the number 1 overall seed in the NFC playoffs, which is paramount just considering the things that's happened. And I think what's been difficult for me this season more so than anything else is that you think about a world where Nick Bosa's not hurt. You think about Fred not being injured. You think about Mykel Williams not getting hurt. The injuries that we've sustained early in the season on the offensive line with Connor Colby having to go in and out multiple times when he's just not there yet. You consider a world where Brock is not injured for most of the season and he's not compromised against Jacksonville. Let's say he's not compromised, the 49ers win that game. What would the game against the Houston Texans would have looked like with a completely healthy defense and a healthy Brock Purdy? The league is completely wide open this year. There's no fear of running into the Chiefs come the Super Bowl. The NFC is completely wide open, and I think it's wide open in the sense of, look at what happened last night. If you consider the fact that, yes, the Seahawks won, right now they'd be the 1 seed and we eventually have to play them. And then you take a look at the Rams, who have been pretty much dominating, everybody's favorite, really, to go to the Super Bowl this far. Seeing the Rams kind of choke that game away last night is a big deal. That should give the 49ers absolute confidence, not to mention the fact that they've already beat the Rams. Okay, so if they were to run against the Rams again and just play a solid football game, it's a coin toss, guys. We shouldn't fear, regardless if something happens and the Niners don't win out and we happen to be a 5, 6, 7 seed, and we do happen to see somebody like Seattle or we see the Rams in the playoffs. These are teams that we've already beat, and I feel as though the Rams showed last night they are not a perfect team. They can be beat. They made some mistakes. They were up 30-14 at one point. I want to say, like, analytics said that at some point in the game, Seattle only had a 3% chance of winning the game. And that's crazy. So they made mistakes, gave Seattle an opportunity. Seattle took advantage and won the game. That's why we're talking about this now. The Niners went out. The number 1 seed is theirs. And I think that's really the only path I could see where the Niners truly can get to the Super Bowl, just with how injured we are on the defensive side of the football. And then you look at the Seahawks and exactly who they are showed up last night. Sam Darnold is going to give you the ball a few times per game. It's just how he's wired. It's just what he's going to do. The only thing I would say is if we see those guys in the playoffs, and we will see those guys, right, in a couple of weeks or so here, it's going to be, can our secondary catch these interceptions? And I feel that if we do, we're going to be fine. We'll get into this in a minute, but I do feel like the 49ers are going to beat the Colts. I feel like they can beat the Bears. And again, this last game against the Seahawks, I do feel it's a coin toss with a slight edge going to the Niners for the game just being at home. But I could not be more excited about the fact that we're in this position considering every single thing that's transpired thus far. So let's get into this matchup with the Colts. Why the 49ers can win this game. It all starts on offense. If you look at these last few games, the San Francisco 49ers have been on a mini tear, really have, with Brock Purdy completing over 70% of his passes, the offense averaging north of 30 points per game, and the 49ers remain one of the most efficient offenses in the NFL with yards per play. Now, this particular offense is not about volume, but it's about efficiency. I really respect the Colts defense. They are a good defense. But I feel as though if Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and the offense can stick to what they've been doing over the last few weeks, taking what the defense has been giving, not forcing anything in there that's not there, I feel as though the 49ers can definitely outscore the Colts. It's going to be about just remaining efficient, keeping Brock Purdy clean, and that offensive line, keeping that defensive line of the Colts at bay enough where Brock can make smart decisions, good throws, and not be afraid to check it down when needed. We know this from the entire season. It's not like Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson have to average 10 yards per carry for our offense to be efficient. I really appreciate the way that Kyle has stuck to the run game regardless of how many yards per carry they have been producing, and I feel that's been the key in keeping this offense very balanced. Another point is Ricky Pearsall. What a game he had last week. I'm really holding out hope that he can get out there on the field and would love to see him stack performances similar to the way he did at the beginning of the season. If Ricky can be that guy, or at least be a threat of being that guy, that's going to be paramount when we hit the postseason. I think we all would agree that the Niners are making the playoffs. It's all about what we're going to do when we get there. Having the number one seeding, having an additional week off to rest up, get healthy, and really game prep for the possible opponents, it's flat out paramount. But again, we're very familiar with the teams that we'll more than likely run into in the playoffs, be it Seattle or the Rams. I'm not discounting any team in the playoffs, but if we were to mess around and have a scenario where we're playing either Tampa Bay or Carolina, I'm not too concerned with that. And then if we had to travel to Seattle, or might as well say Levi South at SoFi Stadium, that's one of those coin toss games. But we all play each other very tough and very hard in this division. So the Niners have a good chance regardless of what happens. I think we would all agree having not to have to play an extra playoff game with the way this team gets injured is definitely the route that we want to go and the route we want to take. Making sure our offense stays ahead of the chains, no serious penalties. Our special teams has been a saving grace this entire year. I don't see any type of collapse. What is Sky Moore going to do? Pinero with his kicking still hasn't missed a kick. I know he would have if not for the penalty, but hey, the penalty erased that. I didn't see it if you didn't see it. That didn't happen. Our special teams are a dominant force for our football team. They have been an X factor. And if our defense can just keep Jonathan Taylor at bay, I would even go so far as to say, guys, that Jonathan Taylor getting 100 yards and a touchdown is not what would cause the 49ers to lose this game. What would cause the Niners to lose this game is Jonathan Taylor having 175, 185 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. We have got to just make sure that we contain this man. We need to be able to really affect early downs. Make sure that this guy doesn't get a full head of steam early on in the game, because if he does, that's going to allow the Colts to dictate pace. By no stretch of the imagination do I fear Phillip Rivers throwing 85 yards downfield on our secondary or anything like that, but they are very good. The Colts are very effective against a stacked box. So we can't just go out there and completely sell out to the run because they're very good against those stacked boxes. I think we stick to the game plan. We focus on what was the problem last week against the Titans, and that's really trying to set that edge. We got to do a better job at setting an edge to prevent Jonathan Taylor from getting to the outside, because if he does, if the Colts are allowed to dictate pace the entire game, that's going to be a problem. I am personally confident that Robert Saleh will make the necessary adjustments. Hopefully we can get a Yatir Gross-Matos back for big third down packages. Hopefully we can get a Sam Okawanu back that can help set an edge and make sure we tackle. We have to wrap up. If we can do that and just contain Jonathan Taylor for the most part, I think we'll be okay in this one. I really feel as though the San Francisco 49ers can outpace and outscore the Colts. If this gets in a situation where the Colts are having to pass to win the game, that is exactly where we need to and want to be. The defense has got to do a better job of getting pressure. Look, I don't even care so much about the sack numbers, but we have got to make Phillip Rivers feel uncomfortable back there and speed up his clock. I feel that on defense, that's going to be a key factor and really to a key to the game. The formula for the 49ers win is pretty simple. Let the offense stay efficient. Keep Brock Purdy clean. Hopefully get some continued growth out of Ricky Pearsall if he can go. If he can't go, do the things that you know are going to keep you ahead of the chains. You don't have to force 20, 25-yard passes downfield. I would even say dink and duck this game. Not even take any huge risks. All the Niners need to do is win. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even have to be pretty. I do feel as though that this game is going to be close. I have the Niners pulling this one out 24-17. At the end of the day, the Niners just need to get the win. I do appreciate the fact, and I spoke to this for a few weeks now, I feel the greatest skill that this team has had this year has been taking each game one game at a time. They truly are not thinking to Chicago. They're not even in a world where they're considering probably what even transpired last night with the Rams and the Seahawks. They've been laser focused, and this speaks volumes to the coaching job that Kyle has done this year. I really think, man, that Kyle is a misunderstood guy. If you haven't had an opportunity to go and watch the video of him being mic'd up on his birthday last week, the game that we played the Titans, you really got an opportunity, man, to see Kyle's personality. But more importantly than Kyle's personality, you can see that the players love Kyle. I think Kyle has had some questionable things that's happened in big games, like in the Super Bowl, what happened with the Falcons, the fact that we've had 10-point leads in 2 Super Bowls. Kyle has been under a lot of scrutiny. I want to say this, right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. In fact, guys, if the theory needed to be tested, if the 49ers went on national TV via press conference today and said, hey, we're willing to trade Kyle Shanahan, the Niners would get 2 first-round picks. No doubt. Like I said, I would say some of the things Kyle has done maybe I haven't agreed with or I've considered head-scratching, especially the last Super Bowl, all the passing, the not deferring in overtime type of thing. And again, I do feel as though it would be nice for him to have like maybe a quality control guy that can maybe calm him down in those big moments. But guys, Kyle as a coach has been immensely, greatly successful as a head coach, and I feel like he's just misunderstood and not really appreciated. Again, yes, would I have liked him to do a couple of different things in some of these Super Bowls? Yeah, absolutely. But let's think about what he's done and how he's coached to get us to the playoffs, to have all this success. And Kyle's had a lot of things happen from players and personnel-wise that's choked some of these games away too. We're not going to talk about the one reception George Kittle had in the Super Bowl celebrating and taunting when CMC fumbled that ball. CMC doesn't fumble that ball, guys. I think we end up putting a Philadelphia Eagles style beatdown on Kansas City. But that's in the past. Let's focus on what's happening right in front of our eyes. Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh have put on a master class of coaching this season. And for one, I'm definitely grateful for. And I know I'm hard on Kyle, man, especially from those things that's happened in the Super Bowl. But that's the past, and this is now. This football team, guys, if the league messes around and allows the 49ers to get the number 1 seed in the playoffs, we have a legitimate shot of going to the Super Bowl. Now, winning, that's a whole different story. We'll figure that out when we see if and who that opponent will be. But my final thoughts, guys, this matchup with the Colts, it's not flashy. I don't think it needs to be flashy, but it's absolutely critical. The path is clear. The Niners control their own destiny. And the stakes really, guys, couldn't be higher. If the Niners want that number 1 seed, it's right out there for the taking. Anyway, faithful, that's going to do it for this preview episode. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think the biggest keys are to beating the Colts? As always, guys, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show today, please remember to like and subscribe. It absolutely, positively helps out the channel. As always, guys, take care, be blessed, go Niners.